going to study more about the language form of simple present tense, and we are going to look into the positive and negative statements. Before we learn how to make a positive or negative statement using simple present tense, first we need to know how to identify the tense of a sentence, and it's very easy. We look into the verb, the action. Take a look at this example. Look at the verb of the sentence. I always submit my homework on time. So the verb is submit. And when you see this verb, you know that it's in simple present tense. So this is how we identify the tense of a sentence. In other words, if we want to change the tense, we will change the form of the verb. Now, let's take a look at how the verb looks like in simple present tense. In positive statement, the changing of the verb in simple present tense is affected by the subject. There are two types of subjects that will affect the changing of the verb in simple present tense. They are either the third person singular subject, such as he, she, it, some singular nouns or uncountable nouns, or the non-third person singular subjects or some plural subjects, such as I, we, you, they, or some plural nouns. These two types of subjects will be followed by different verb form in simple present tense. So the general rule for making positive statement in simple present tense is that if you see third person singular subjects, you will add s or es after the verb. While for all other subjects, we use the base form of a verb, meaning that you don't need to add s or es after the verb. Nothing after the verb. Let's take a look at these examples of positive statements in simple present tense. They all start with some third person singular subject. You can see that for the verbs following these third person singular subjects, they all have s or es after the verb. For example, Tom rides his bicycle to school every day. You can see that Tom is a third person singular subject. And after Tom, we will use the verb with s or es to show that it is in simple present tense. Let's take a look at another example. My cat sleeps in my bed all the time. Because my cat is a third person singular subject, therefore we need to add s after sleep, the verb. Same as the last example. Steel melts at around 1370 degrees Celsius. Because steel is an uncountable noun, we consider it as third person singular subject as well. So we need to add s or es after melt. It becomes melts. So this is how we form a positive statement in simple present tense with third person singular subject. If we don't see third person singular subjects in the sentence, then we just need to use the base form of the verb for all other subjects in simple present tense, which means that you don't need to add s or es after the verb. Following those non-third person subjects or plural nouns, such as I, we, you, they, or plural nouns. Let's take a look at these examples. We love our class teachers. Because we is a first person plural subject. Therefore, we don't need to add s or es after the verb love. The second example, they swim really fast. They is a third person plural subject. Therefore, we don't need to add s or es after swim, the verb. For the last example, babies sleep all the time. Babies is a plural noun, more than one baby. Therefore, we don't need to add s or es after the verb sleep. In short, If you want to use simple present tense in positive statements that begin with third-person singular subjects, we will add s or es after the verb. And for all other non-third-person singular or plural subjects, we will not add anything after the verb. We will use the base form of the verb. Then what about the negative statement? To make a negative statement in simple present tense is pretty similar to making a positive statement in simple present tense. All we need to add is the word don't or doesn't before the verb. And for the verb, we use bare infinitive, meaning that we don't need to add s or es after the verb. If we see third-person singular subjects, such as he, she, it, some singular nouns or uncountable nouns, we will use doesn't before the verb. Take a look at this example. Lily doesn't like ice cream. So before the verb like, we add doesn't, because Lily is a third-person singular subject. Lily is only one person, is a singular noun. Therefore, we use doesn't in the negative statement. Another example is that Jerry doesn't swim. Jerry is a singular noun, so it's a third-person singular subject as well. So we need to use doesn't before the verb swim. And we don't need to add s or es after swim. The last example is that the sun doesn't rise from the west. The sun is a singular noun. Therefore, we will use doesn't before the verb rise. And we don't need to add s or es after the verb rise. So this is how we make negative statements in simple present tense with third-person singular subjects. The last thing that we are going to look into are sentences, the negative statements in simple present tense that begin with other subjects, such as I, we, you, they, the plural noun. If we see these subjects, we will use the word don't before the verb. And also, we don't need to add s or es after the verb if we use the word don't. For example, vegetarians don't eat meat. You can see that the subject, vegetarians, is a plural noun. So we'll choose the word don't before the verb eat. And we don't add s or es after the verb eat. Let's take a look at this second example. They don't want to miss tonight's episode. Because the word they is a third-person plural subject. Therefore, we use the word don't before the verb want. And we don't add s or es after the verb want. The last example. Peter and Tom always don't understand what their teacher says. Peter and Tom, together, they are two people. So it's a plural noun phrase. Plural noun. Therefore, we will use the word don't before the verb understand. And we don't add s or es after the verb understand. So this is how we make negative statements in simple present tense that begin with other subjects.